we were discussing about someone uh, who has done this thing and that thing, but then they also wanted the Buddha to explain. Then immediately Buddha, with his supernatural powers, he would go to the what do you call his he will scan the um, his file, the entire file. Oh, this person was like this. And then the monks would ask the Buddha to explain. Yeah. So just wanted to mention that this discussion, this freedom, this mutual respect was always there in the Buddha's order. Do you know the topic today? Yeah, today's topic we already have discussed about Buddhist culture. We also have discussed about human rights, but today we will go back to that um, Buddhist culture and its connection to human rights again. Maria, what's the name of your cat?
This is Charlie.
Charlie.
He's lonely.
Oh, Charlie is lonely?
Yeah, his sister died last month.
Oh no.
So he's bugging me.
Okay. All right. So hope he will find a company. Sometimes the animals, when you raise animals, um, no matter how much comfort you give, but they also need an animal company so that they can play differently. Like we have limited time to play with them, but if they have a same animal, then they are super happy. All right. So today's lesson, Mark, are you the one hosting today?
Gabriela.
Gabriela? All right. I hope I can share now. Okay. So today's topic is fundamentals of Buddhist culture and its connection to human rights. I think we will focus more on human rights. That I think will be very important. So today we enter an important discussion on Buddhist culture and its connection to human rights. Let me share the screen first. And so this topic, as we already have discussed in some other times, both the topics, I hope you will find somewhat overlapping, but this topic will make our discussion more understanding, more comprehensive. Um, Buddhism has always emphasized values such as karuna and ahimsa. So right now we can see Maria is showering karuna to her pet Charlie. And ahimsa also is nonviolence. I think many people are practicing karuna and ahimsa, compassion and nonviolence in many different modes. Some people don't like pets, but that doesn't mean they don't have karuna or compassion. They do, but somehow, they don't match. And some people really, really, really into uh, the pets. That's also amazing. Um, so they are part of our emotions and our upbringing and maybe our temperament. They have different roles to play, but everyone has this beautiful karuna. Even some very violent, very rugged wild animals, such as lions, who normally are predators and they would go hunt the deer or whatever. But sometimes suddenly, suddenly seen a little animal, maybe a small deer, they would trigger their karuna somehow out of nowhere, and they would take care of that pet. Have you seen such scenes? Um, so this is very interesting. And in Buddhism, these two words, karuna and ahimsa, play a very powerful um, role. So, which form the ethical foundation of human dignity and social responsibility. It's not like those animals, but as humans, we also have one, human dignity and then social responsibility. So, in modern times, these teachings have intersected with global conversations about human rights, justice, and equality. We have world bodies to work on human rights and justice and equality. So, as we reflect together, let us remember that the Buddha's message was not only about personal liberation, but also about the well being of the community and the protection of all living beings. Remember the Buddha's first message to the 60 disciples? Charata bhikkhave charikang bahujana hitaya, bahujana sukhaya, athaya hitaya, deva manasana. Go forward, O monks, for the well being, for the happiness, for the benefit of the many, including both humans and the divine beings. So the monks have been asked by the Buddha to continue to um, cultivate, propagate karuna and ahimsa all throughout their lives. So this is part of their life. And recently, the rise of engaged Buddhism, there was a new concept, new Buddhist concept like engaged Buddhism, which actually had deep rooted features already, all the way back to the Buddha's time. So, engaged Buddhism shows us how timeless wisdom can guide contemporary challenges such as political oppression, social inequality, and environmental degradation. So we find some situations in the recent history. For example, in Sri Lanka, there was one social activist, powerful Buddhist called Anagarika Dharmapala. He went to India to rescue those Buddhist places. He was one of those leading personals for engaged Buddhism. like you also have to fight for your rights, but fight in a non-violent way. Like Mahatma Gandhi in India, he also used non-violent ways to fight against the oppression. And so he had some Buddhist values in his protest. So this is the topic that we are going to discuss today. So before we dive into today's discussion, um, let's begin with a short reflection. 1 minute of silence. Please close your eyes or lower your gaze for a moment. Take 3 slow breaths and silently reflect on this question. What does human dignity mean to me? Okay, please take a good long deep breath and gently, compassionately open your eyes with a more positive energy, wholesome energy towards yourself, towards everyone else. And now say it in one word. What does human dignity mean to you? Hey, Jojo says respectability. Mark says love. Tara says ethics. Isla says equanimity. Julie says noble. Um, respect. What's her name? TBS, RNTA.
Oh, that's Gabriella.
Gabriela, sorry. Respect. And then Shannon says, be respected. Cameron says, forgiveness. Jangchup says, noble. Okay. Yeah. So this is how you feel about this wonderful concept of um, human rights. Okay. And then I would like to actually ask you, Bante Vijita says equality. They are really wonderful concepts. Everyone need to think of these things very seriously. So who is going to be the volunteer today to lead us into some physical movements?
I can show
Let me,
something.
you're going to do it?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, wonderful. Mark. So maybe after, what do you think? Like in the class, I would also like to ask, what is the best time to do that?
I would like maybe 6:30 when we're looking at that last hour. We've just come back from a break, but we have a little bit more to go. But I'm open to any other opinions.
What do you mean by 6:30? Because it's different time.
Okay. When we take our second break, come back
6:30 means
refreshed.
1 hour before the finish,
Yeah,
the conclusion. Tara says after the break. Yeah, let's I mean, let's get the benefit. After break, that will be 6, right? Around 6, 5:36. Yeah. So, okay, 6 to 6:30.
that's good.
Yep.
Okay. Any other opinions? Yeah, feel free. Okay. So, okay, 6 or 6:30. Like immediately after the break, or yeah, let's I think decide the CST time, because people are probably more used to that. It should be what time would it be? Like 6:30 means 8:30, right? Yeah, 8:30.
Yes.
6:30 means 8:30 CST.
Mhm.
EST is 9:30.
Yes.
Okay, so 8 or 8:30. Not immediately after the break. Yeah. Okay. So then let's go to 8:30. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So hope we have enough energy uh, um, during the first half and half of the lecture. Okay. Right. So so this is one picture. Again, I'd like to start with these picture readings to brainstorm you and read this picture and say something.
It makes me sad, Bunty, because I've been reading so much lately about people who don't have this fundamental privilege of having fresh water. And I've been seeing people drink from gasoline puddles and just really horrific areas. So this is like a blessing that I never take for granted in my modern life, is having this, what this girl's got.
Mm. Yeah.
It reminds me of this experience when I was in Dharamshala, and people are drinking water bottles and they have extra waters in the bottle, and they were throwing a pile of them, and then there were people going collecting the leftover water, and maybe they used for plants or whatever they were using, but I found that in America that would never happen.
Mm. Yes. Can somebody also please read this chat? Sometimes I think it will be easier for me if somebody read this chat. Okay, what does the chat say?
I can read the chat. Cameron
Okay.
said joy. Gabriella said basic needs. Tara said poverty. I said human right to clean water. Ayler said a person finding sustenance. And Mark said basic survival.
Yeah. How important it is to have fresh water, right? At least this lady over here still has, looks like some clean water. But there are some places where they don't even have clean water. So the world is very different, right? And yes, as many of you said, like you think like having a bottle of water is like a privilege, right? Even the bottled water is not necessarily a privilege. Don't you think so? So we are kind of bottled up. We are also kind of confined to, maybe we have to drink what they give us to drink, right? You don't have privilege in a way. But somehow, different companies um, produce different water bottles, and then it's not the same. If you drink the same water for a long gap of time, maybe you will, you will lack something, some minerals, maybe. Just an idea. Sometime I remember in Italy, there is water everywhere, like free water everywhere. We used to drink from the taps. Everywhere in the country, they had free water taps. I think that has come um, from long distance, long history. They had this clean water drinking. That's amazing. I noticed that we didn't have any issue with the water. Okay, what about this? Okay, Kyra, can you read?
Absolutely. All right. So we have Gabriella says free education. Jojo said water for everyone. Ayler said collective responsibility. Shannon said people union together. I said the need for water connects us globally and should be universal. Mark said youth unity. Tara said shared responsibility, ethics, dignity, safety for each other. And Jungchup said people union together.
Wonderful. Have you ever thought of helping someone with water? I remember there is one lady in New Jersey. She used to help some drinking water projects in Sri Lanka. She did 3 projects for 3 communities, different locations, and a Buddhist monastery was undertaking the project. One project costed 8,000 US dollars, and so the entire village was given um, drinking water. They had some water issues in those areas, so I just remember how powerful it can become when we also think of others. And sometimes when we go to functions, for example, I remember like people come to our temples and they take a water and they don't finish the water and they just leave it like halfway done. And if you know, there are so many people out there in the world, they don't have drinking water like this. So we just sometimes waste without thinking of the other people. So something to think about, water. Again, very important. Okay, another addition here. What do you think of this?
All right, I said Buddhist perspective, equanimous right, and access to clean water. Julie said water is one of the elements per Buddha's teachings. Gabriella said equality. Mark said equality. Ayler said the Buddha taught that all humans are inherently equal and inherently deserving of basic needs. Tara said Buddhist principles, i.e. right view. Jojo said pursuing water rights for everyone. Nu said all people have equal right to receive good living resources. And Maria said balance. And Bhante Vijita said all people need good living resources.
Yes. So this water can also be symbolic, the basic needs. And the lady with the balance also is a symbol of justice and equanimity. And then we also have like how the two hands were, raising up or caring for the world. And then we have a number of people working hand in hand to save the world. And then we also have the Buddha blessing from another side. So this could all go together to make our concept more stronger. Okay, so here's another picture for you to think or say something.
Ayler said liberation from suffering. Tara said break the cycle and love one another. Mark said freedom equals love. Jojo said break the bonds of inequality and live as one. I said breaking free from constraints of perceived differences. Nu said together we can heal the world. Bhante Vijita said freedom. Shannon said we break through some limits and union together for a green earth. Gabriella said freedom and clean planet. Jeng Chup said freedom. And Julie said love the elements.
Thank you so much. So you can see breaking the shackles, you can see the green earth, you can see the light, and you can see beautiful hands making form of love symbol, the heart symbol. You can also see the birds freely flying in the air. That sums up the whole story, freedom, like human rights or rights in general. Thank you everyone for your your thoughts today. So over here we can also see human rights. We can see the globe, and then we can see the Buddha. We can kind of summarize what we are going to discuss today. And like yesterday, these are maybe some of the issues. What do you think of this picture?
We lost the picture.
You lost the picture?
Oh,
I
The
can see
picture's
it.
there.
Got it, I got
I
it.
can see it.
They all look angry.
Okay.
All right. Jojo said passion for purpose. Tara said protesting together for different freedoms of each individual, regardless freedom of choice. Mark said voicing the need. I said fight for gender equality. New said they are speaking up for human rights. Julie said freedom of speech. Ayler said speaking out against inequalities, Bodhisattva looking on. Jang Chup said everyone has different ideas. And Gabriella said respect of choice.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes. So these pictures actually, you know, talk a lot of things. They can be every one of us can see the same picture, but every one of us can have different perspectives. Just like even looking at their eyes, they don't look happy, as I think Maria said. And so they somehow have been oppressed due to something, you know, and then they fight, and they fight here. They protest here against the suppression of their freedom. And here, although they are angry, they are not showing violence. They protest non-violently, um, which could, of course, now in the world, these protests always start with this, and then the suppression happens, and then anti-climax. A lot of violence and lot of fighting and lot of destruction also take place. So again, another something for all of us to think. And over here in the side, you can see Kuang Yin and kind of blessing the world. So Kuang Yin is the symbol of compassion, Karuna. It could also be the Buddha or like those spiritual. So if we can be non-violent, we still can make the protests more meaningful sometimes if the nonviolent protests lead to, due to some political elements, or some people inside the group can trigger violent moves, using the kind of misusing the people power, and that could lead to disaster. So this also happens many a times, we can see in the world. So we can see here um, the women being suppressed, and gender issues, and also like world is on fire, and protest is a human right, my body, my choice, and blah 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 action now. So these are all kind of topics that people need to think today. Okay, so again here we can see uh, this is also again very important practice, kind of healing practice, healing together, working together, standing together hand in hand. And the monks are lighting the lamps. I think we saw something like this yesterday as well, to dispel the darkness of ignorance and to bring peace to one's mind. These pictures can speak volumes again about what we can do to heal the world. So when it comes to human rights, this is again very complicated. It's not like so straight. Many complicated issues, and also the human rights. They all symbolically knit together, merge together, various aspects of uh, human rights are put together to make it more meaningful. You can see here. Um, can you see these words like integration, choice, empower, trust, justice, free speech, vote, and then freedom, voice, equality, peace, inclusion, fear culture, family, and then security, dignity, religion, democracy, respect, tolerance, society, liberation, and then law, um, diversity, principles, education, the debate, protection. All these are um, features that we need to pay attention to when it comes to human rights. So human rights is brick by brick, block by block, put together and built. We can build a world. We can build a wall. We can build a house. We can raise um, a strong foundation to make human rights more effective. That's about human rights. The United Nations organization, they have the definition here. uh, Human rights are inherent to all human beings, regardless of race, sex, nationality, ethnicity, language, religion, or any other status. Human rights include the right to life and liberty, freedom from slavery and torture, freedom of opinion and expression, the right to work and education, and many more. Everyone is entitled to these rights without discrimination. This apparently looks a very powerful statement, very beautiful statement, but applying this into real-time practice is the issue that we are facing today. So in Buddhism, we already have discussed some of the suttas. These suttas, Vasetta Sutta, Vasala Sutta, effectively challenges preconceived notions of social hierarchy by proclaiming that nobility is determined by one's actions rather than birth. Um, it is said, Najacha vasalo hoti, Najacha hoti brahmano. You cannot become a Brahmin by birth. You can become a Brahmin by birth only by your action only. And it is not fair to call someone Vasala or low caste or upper caste on the basis of your birth. It should be the action, your own actions, your own mannerisms, your own behaviors, your own conduct, your own ethical values that could determine your nobility. So this discourse echoes the fundamental human rights principle that all individuals, irrespective of background, possesses inherent dignity and deserve equal respect. Just like in the human rights charter here, in the UN human rights definition, we can see in Buddhism also pretty much similar, but also more advanced, I could say. In the Parabhava Sutta, we learned again, Tang para bhavato mukhang, a number of factors for declining. Declining factors are treated in this sutta. So this sutta outlines behaviors leading to personal and social downfall, emphasizing the importance of ethical conduct, which mirrors the commitment to maintaining cultural, social, and family values inherent in human rights discussions. So the entire sutta discusses about how someone can become, become lower himself or herself. So the ethical conduct is very important again. It is the very foundation of our nobility. We can all come out of this downfall if we focus on these things. We all have human rights to protect with regard to culture, society, and family. They are all interconnected, and we have to work together to make human rights um, more important and protective. And in Kutadanta Sutta in Digha Nikaya, one of longer discourses, in the Digha Nikaya, there are 32 long suttas, and Kutadanta Sutta gives another important message about the just governance. In this sutta, the Buddha advises on governance through welfare rather than sacrifice, promoting social justice and the right to an adequate standard of living, aligning closely with the human rights, focus on social welfare as a fundamental state of responsibility. Again, you can see how a government should work, like what is the ideal government, the policies of a government to take care of the public, to work for the well-being and happiness and benefit of the public. That is the motive, the policy of the government, according to this sutta, the Buddhist perspective on just governance that protects human rights. And then another sutta called Chakravarti Sehana, the sutta. This sutta also very important. Chakravarti is like universal monarch. Siha is lion, Sihanada is lion's rover. So this sutta is again discusses about the principle peaceful leadership. um, principles of peaceful leadership. So this sutta depicts an ideal ruler who leads with righteousness and justice, underscoring peace and fairness as essential for governance, which are fundamental to the foundation and to the human rights framework, advocating for justice and integrity. We have Dasa Raja Dharma, a ruler, a Buddhist ruler, an ideal Buddhist ruler should practice 10 factors, Dasa Raja Dharma. This sutta also is a very important sutta, I think, as Buddhists we should pay attention to these things. And if our community level leaders, monastery level leaders, and regional level or country level, global level leadership, if they are aware of these things, they probably can do it better. They probably can look at things in a different perspective to benefit the society. So this sutta again is another important sutta. So already uh, we and we have few suttas already here. Vasala Sutta and Parabhava Sutta about the Vasala Sutta is about the nobility. Parabhava Sutta is about the downfall. And in the Kutadanta Sutta about the governance and welfare. Again, in this Chakravarti Sihanada Sutta, it's about the ruler who leads with righteousness and justice. And then the sutta that we have already discussed before, so Kalama Sutta, Kalama Sutta, the intellectual freedom and how freedom of thought is offered to us in the Buddhist Charter of Free Will. This Kalama Sutta champions the freedom of belief and expression, advising individuals to rely on personal judgment and the discernible consequences of their beliefs, strongly supporting the human rights mandate for freedom of thought and religion. So, very important again, the Sutta, Kalama Sutta, we can find so many different angles that the Sutta treats us with many different perspectives. So, highly recommend you read some of these suttas to make your understanding more expansive, more comprehensive about the Buddhist teachings on this subject. And the Buddha's teaching on compassion and inclusivity were revolutionary, particularly his open invitation for individuals of all castes to join the Sangha. Sangha means community. And when they join the Sangha, they have to um, get rid of all the shackles, all the um, already confinement that they have. They have to come out of these different lenses, different shackles, and they have to come and be free from all those clingings. So the sutta, the Buddha's teaching here, promote a radical form of equality. This is very important. Like during that time, right here, right now, today in the world, people talk about this equality. Also, people can fight for their rights, but there was a time during the Buddha's time, fight for rights was not a privilege. It was not possible. If you fight for your rights, you will be in trouble. So those days, you already have been confined to certain cells. You have been shackled. You can't really say what you want. You can really fight for what you want. You can't live where you want. There's there's a short story, if you can read. It's called Thakur's Will. Okay, I think it was written by Rabindranath Tagore. So in Thakur's Well, Thakur is a landlord, high caste man, and he was very rich. He had all the privileges. He was a landlord. He had wonderful, properties everywhere. The village community had one simple water well. We were talking about the water today, and the community had a water which was not really hygienic too. And Thakur has a water well which was very good. The drinking water was really good. And in this story, there is subtle conflict between the villagers who don't have drinking water. They have water, but it's not drinkable. And there was one lady who was very sick because of drinking contaminated water, and so they are trying to steal water from Thakur's well. And then when they are caught, and they are punished. So it's really an interesting um, explanation about the scenario of those days. So the caste system, and they have already separated certain rights and privileges of the people. So during that time, when the Buddha was talking about you have freedom to join the sasana, and you can cast aside all differences. You can become a noble person, noble monk. You can become an Arya monk, Arya Sangha, just like all the waters coming from all different directions, when they join the great ocean together, it becomes the same taste. So is my sasana, my order of monks community, when they are joined by all different people, regardless of their differences, they become equal. That was really, really amazing statement already. Remember, we need to think of the fact that the Buddha was living at a time when there were people like Thakurs who had very exclusive privileges, whereas the other common folk, they didn't have such things. They were very confined to limited access to their own facilities. Basic human rights were not there during that time. Some people could not come out even without covering their face. That was not possible for such people. And some people, they when they see an upper caste person walking along the street, they had to, jump out to the gutter, and they had to hide their face. They can't really meet face to face with those high caste people in the morning, anytime. I was surprised. I was shocked actually when I saw such people, even in India, in the heart of the capital city. Even today, there are some people like that. They always cover their face. They, due to this issue. And these people only work with sanitary works or some cleaning or something like that. They did not have access to education and other privileges. Hopefully, this is why in modern day movements such as Ambedkar, who turned to Buddhism, along with 1 million people in 1956. And then both those SC and ST, so scheduled caste and scheduled tribe people, they in even those outcast people, they had the privilege to free education and social mobility upward. That was really interesting. And now the movement is very powerful, and there are so many people, millions and millions of those people who follow Buddhism, but they somehow kind of follow a distorted version because they don't want Ambedkar to be like he has been elevated to sainthood, and they always put Ambedkar and Buddha together, and so that's really not compatible with the other Buddhist practices. The other communities, they find it very weird. But I think given the fact that these people have been so much oppressed, suppressed, and so thinking of Ambedkar as a living God, sometime, it makes sense. And it'll probably take some generations for those people to think, oh, Ambedkar is, yes, a political figure, social leader. He actually showed a very important part for them to come out of the darkness. But then again, Buddha's teaching is way more different, way more advanced than that. It will take some time, probably. So this was a very interesting topic again, like caste structures of the time, illustrating a direct application of human rights principles within a religious framework. So when it comes to the Buddhist Sangha, they cannot talk about these things. But still, even today, there are certain elements within the Sangha community. There are certain um, elements within them. They still can get rid of those things. Ideally, they can't have these things, but still, I think there are issues. And that's why there are other monks who have formed different sects and different nikayas or different um, segments of the Sangha. That could also actually lead to schism among the Sangha. So empowerment of women, again, really important in Buddhism. The Buddha's decision to allow women into the Sangha was equally transformative, providing them with spiritual opportunities previously reserved for men. So, how Buddha allowed the women when it took actually some time. You can't really, okay, come on. It's not like that. It would be a little hard to make it a little bit more smooth. I think over time only it could change, but it is still, it was not so smooth at the beginning. But Buddha somehow allowed the women to come into the sasana. And once they joined, they also were equally treated as noble bhikkhunis. And there were bhikkhunis like Kema, Upalavanna. They were like Sariputta Moggallani, foremost among wise bhikkhunis, foremost among bhikkhunis with spiritual psychic powers, foremost among those different bhikkhunis. Even Patachara, the story of Patachara, if you remember, like how Patachara was given the a unique privilege, a title as foremost among the Vinayadhara bhikkhunis. Very beautiful. I think this is a very revolutionary, progressive movement step by the Buddha, providing these women with spiritual opportunities reserved only for women, only for men for a long time. So this
But-
moon, yes?
I'm sorry, can you clarify for me? Because I thought originally Buddha didn't want women in the Sangha. He said basically they're gonna kind of ruin everything. And it was Ananda, the one that stepped up and said, no, they need to come in. And they actually he persuaded the Buddha to allow women in. Is that correct?
Well, that is technically that was how it happened. But if Buddha didn't want, he wouldn't have allowed even Ananda to, intervene. And Venerable Ananda, yes, he was also very compassionate. Then the Buddha himself had to think of many, many other factors, especially when the men, mm, what do you call, recluses or ascetic men practitioners, and if they live with the who actually already practice celibacy, and when the opposite gender people come, that would really lead to many distractions. That is very natural. It's the, like, you know um, um, law of attraction. So what happened? The Buddha had to seriously think of it. If this will smoothly or peaceful coexistence of the Sangha. And the other thing is, for the women, it would be very hard for women practitioners to live in the forest all by themselves. Not like the men practitioners who were physically strong and mentally prepared. Women could be mentally prepared, but there could be dangers, inherent dangers to women. Things like one bhikkhuni, when she was walking through the forest, one young man was chasing her, and then it is said she she was asking him. She noticed that this guy was following her, and then she asked, what do you want? Why are you chasing me?" Then he said, "Oh, you look very pretty." And then she said, "What is more pretty in me?" And he said, "Your eyes look very pretty." What she did, like, she pulled the eye out of her and gave it to her, gave it to him. So many things like that happened in that time. So especially for women, it's not safe to live in the forest with very limited facilities and relatively weaker physical structure. It was really difficult for women. So Buddha had to think many issues, like even the future survival. Like today's context, it's different. Like those days, like more spiritually oriented people were there, like men, also even women. They were really interested in committing themselves to find freedom, liberation. But today it is little different. It's not the same intense, commitment. So Buddha had to think like thousands of years in advance what will happen. So that's why there were some some issues. But I think Buddha was not in short of compassion for women. He really wanted to help them too. So it took some time. It was hesitant, but he somehow allowed the women to also practice. But he asked the women practitioners, the bhikkhunis, to live close by the monks so that their safety can be guaranteed. But then again, those fundamental issues could happen. He knew it. He knew that this is not going to, sustain for a longer. Things could, go wrong. Um, that's why he was a little hesitant. Okay.
Thank you.
And I would like to actually bring these stories, like stories of transformation, like Sunita, Sopaka, Patachara. these narratives really highlighting the Buddha's inclusive compassion. These stories emphasize the dignity and moral elevation accessible to all, regardless of one's social standing or past, aligning with the human rights focus on uplifting the marginalized. They were all kind of marginalized people. Sunita and Sopaka were little children, and they have been um, suppressed by the society. Bhattacharya's case was again um, very interesting psychological case. So let's uh, let's take a dive into these stories. So this is the story of Sunita. He was sweeping the roads. That was again that was the inherent job assigned to him by birth. He has no choice. He can't do like go to school or, um, like the social mobility for him was very much restricted. Whenever possible, young enough for him, he had to take the broom. He had to clean up. That was the lifestyle they had. And the Sunita, he was also called scavenger because he had to clean up the roads. One day when the Buddha was coming along the road, along with the monks, Sunita saw the Buddha and the monks coming, and he was shaking. He was shocked. And how can I like come from the Buddha? I am a low caste person. I cannot meet him face to face. And so he was kind of hiding. He was worried. He was hiding himself. And then to him, the Buddha went with compassion and open heart. And then he asked Sunita, would you like to become a free person? Of course, with this kind of a lifestyle, who would like to live like that forever for the rest of his life? The Buddha, when the Buddha asked, he said, definitely, Master, I really want to become free, but I have no option, no choice. I have to work with the broom all the time. And then the Buddha gave him an opportunity. You can become a monk and you will be free. And not only you will be free physically, but also you will be free mentally. And Sunita was allowed to enter the order, and he became a compassionate monk, an enlightened monk after that. So life was transformed that way. Can somebody please read the story?
I can read, Bhante.
Okay.
The story of Sunita. In Savatthi, there was a scavenger named Sunita. He was a road sweeper and barely earned enough to feed himself. Sunita slept on the roadside, for he did not have a house to go to. He saw other people enjoying themselves, but he could not mix with them because these people called him an outcast. Whenever a higher caste person went on the road, Sunita had to run and hide so his shadow did not fall on them. If he was not quick enough, he would be scolded and beaten. Poor Sunita lived a miserable life. One day, as he was sweeping a dirty, dusty road, Sunita saw the Buddha with thousands of followers coming towards him. His heart was filled with joy and fear, and finding no place to hide, he just stood, joining his palms in respect. The Buddha stopped and spoke to poor Sunita in a sweet, gentle voice, saying, "My dear friend, would you like to leave this work and follow me?" Nobody had ever spoken to Sunita like this before. His heart was filled with joy and his eyes with tears. Oh, most venerable sir, I have always received orders, but never a kind word. If you accept a dirty and miserable scavenger like me, I will follow you. So the Buddha ordained Sunita and took him along with the other monks. From that day forth, no one knew what Sunita's caste was, and no one treated him with disgust and cruelty. Everybody, even kings, ministers, and commanders, respected him.
Thank you. So when he became a monastic, he shaved his head and he was wearing the robe, and he was equal with all the other monks and the kings and those people who were like hired to him, ordered him, his masters, his employers, everyone had to respect him. Nobody knew, yes, nobody knew his caste. That was a beautiful story of Sunita the scavenger transforming himself to a noble, enlightened monk. This is the story of Sopaka, another young little boy who was ill-treated by his uncle, um, like father-in-law. Oh, what do you call it? Is that father-in-law? If your mom is married to another um, person, you call it father-in-law, right? No.
Stepfather.
Sorry, yeah, stepfather. So stepfather was always ill-treating him, and then this young man was always having hard time. One day, the stepfather found this young boy doing some mistake, and he was very angry. And then he took him to the cemetery. You know, those days cemeteries were like just like garbage, like you dump the bodies just like this. And there were like hawks, there were like other wild animals who would come and eat those bodies. So this little boy, Sunita, was taken to the cemetery by his stepfather, and he was tied to the body, and he left. He was so angry with the young boy, and he was crying, and he was traumatized with fear and helplessness. And to him, the Buddha came, and how Buddha rescued him. Um, Here goes the story. Please read it.
Did you want me to continue, Bunty?
Okay.
Okay. There once was a boy by the name of Sopaka, born to a very poor family. When this boy was only 7, his father died, and his mother married another man who was very wicked and unkind. His new stepfather always beat and scolded small Sopaka, who was very kind, innocent, and good. The stepfather thought, "This boy is a nuisance, a good for nothing, but I cannot do anything to him because his mother loves him so much. What shall I do about him?" One evening he said, "Dear son, let us go for a walk." The boy was surprised and thought, "My stepfather has never talked to me so kindly. Perhaps my mother has asked him to be kind to me." So he happily went with his stepfather. They walked to a cemetery where there were many rotting bodies, and the stepfather tied Sopaka to one of them, leaving him alone and crying. As the night became darker and darker, Sopaka's fear increased. He was alone in the cemetery and so frightened that his hair stood on end and drops of sweat rolled down his body. The noises of the jackals, tigers, leopards, and other wild animals made him even more frightened. Then, when he was almost paralyzed with fear, he saw a shining, noble-looking person with a bright light coming towards him, saying, "Sopaka, don't cry. I'm here to help you, so don't fear. At that moment, Sopaka broke his bonds and stood before the Buddha in the Jetavana monastery. The Buddha bathed him, gave him food to eat, clothes to wear, and consoled and comforted him. Meanwhile, on returning home, the wicked stepfather was questioned by Sopaka's mother. "Where is my son?" she asked. "I don't know," he replied. "He came home before me." But the mother could not sleep the whole night for worrying about her son. Early the next day, she went to see Buddha for help. "Why are you crying, sister?" asked the Buddha. "Oh Lord," replied the lady, "I have only one son, and since last night he has been missing. My husband took Sopaka for a walk, and the little boy never returned home." "Don't worry, sister. Your son is safe. Here he is." And so saying, the Buddha showed her Sopaka, who had become a monk. The mother was overjoyed to see her son again, and after listening to the Buddha's teaching, she too became a follower.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So this story of Sopak again is another wonderful reflection of the Buddha's um, beautiful human qualities, how he has been helpful to all those innocent, helpless people, little children, and other people. He has been helping all throughout his life. When they became monks, they were empowered to be equally treated by everyone. Whosoever comes to him, all those kings, all those businessmen, everyone, they had to bow to those wonderful monks. Yes, so it's really, really important that we learn these things. And in the Majjhima Nikaya, Samana Mundika Sutta, the Mundika the contemplative, also has a story about this. I think, yeah, hopefully we can read this. Yeah. Okay. Oops. Hmm. Can someone also please read this story, the sutta? We have the summary here.
I
I
can
really
read.
like I really like Jojo's reading. She like made it more lively. Really appreciate. Yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, let's ask someone else also to read.
Yeah, I'd like to read Samana Mudika Sutta, Mudika the Contemplative. The Buddha refutes Agarbomana's simplistic criteria for spiritual attainment by comparing it to the innocence of a newborn, who is free from evil simply due to lack of capacity rather than spiritual attainment. The Buddha explains that mere absence of evil does not equate to true skillfulness or high spiritual achievement. He emphasized that a truly skillful individual not only avoids unwholesome actions, but actively cultivates wholesome qualities and understands the deep causal mechanism of behavior, both unskillful and skillful. The sutta highlights the Buddha's teaching that true spiritual practice involves a deep understanding of the mind's tendencies and a committed effort towards cultivating virtuous qualities, leading ultimately to profound wisdom and liberation. 。
Thank you. Thank you so much. And yeah, let's ask someone else to read.
Oh, the Buddha refused Agabamanas. Oh, I finish.
Oh, yes. So, I think that was. So the Mundika, thank you so much. So the Mundika here also in the Sutta, Buddha engages in a significant discourse about the nature of true skillfulness in a contemplative life. So how to become a true skillful person. So it happened between the Panchakanga, the carpenter, and Uggahamana, the follower of Mundika, the contemplative. So these two people. And then Uggahamana was the one claiming that abstaining from evil action, speech, and resource and means of livelihood defines a person as being consummate and foremost in skillfulness. So this person was talking about his teaching, and so Panchakanga seeks the Buddha's insight later. So that's how the Buddha went to here. The in this sutta how Panchakanga, the Uggahamana criteria of spiritual attainment is uh, challenged here both by the Buddha. So this sutta highlights the Buddha's teaching. Spiritual practice is very important, especially deep understanding of the mind's tendencies um, for cultivating spiritual or virtuous or sila qualities, leading finally to the wisdom and liberation. That's about the Mundika Samana Sutta. Majjhima Nikaya. This is another story, simple story, yet a very profound psychological case where Patachara, who was apparently a rich woman earlier, she somehow was married to a poor person, and then she ran away from her house, and then she lived with that husband, and then she had two kids. And what happened here, she heard that her family had some issue at home, and then they are they wanted to come back and see the parents. So on the way, when they were coming through the jungle, it is said Patachara's husband was bitten by a snake and he died. So the young lady already had the sad news about her family, and now she lost her husband on the way. Those jungles were always, uh, crowded with wild animals and snakes, and also it was again not easy. And somehow she came to a river, and then she had to cross the river. And then how she crossed the river, and while doing so, how she lost her children, both the children, is again a very interesting twist of her life, and how she, after losing and also hearing about the sad news of her family all burnt in that house, she went crazy. Actually, she was insane, and she was walking here and there, after a while, like people were mocking at her, laughing at her, and people were yelling at her. Like she was living like a homeless person, and also like psychological pressure was tremendous. She didn't even know that she didn't have, she was not even wearing clothes, it is said. So people were mocking at her. And then someone somehow led her to the Buddha. And when she came there, some kind person threw a cloth to her to cover. And the Buddha spoke in kind, gentle words to her to make her calm and peaceful. And eventually, Patachara became a bhikkhuni, a powerful bhikkhuni, and she was foremost among the Vinayadhara bhikkhunis. Here's um, the story about Patachara. Patachara's story is very good actually for even modern psychologists. How she lost, and one child was lost when she was trying to, cross the river. One child, the baby, little baby, was kept on the river bank, and she took the little older child to the other side, and in the middle of um, the road. Okay, so she kept the boy on the other bank, and when she was coming back to get the little kid, in the middle of the river, she found a hawk coming and taking the little baby, thinking it's some kind of meat. And then when she was screaming to scare the hawk away, the other young boy thought that the mother was calling him, and he jumped into the river. He was also washed away. So she lost everything. And she also heard that her family, the house was burnt, and her parents and her brother, everyone was gone. And so the incredible psychological pressure to her made her life completely different. And here, the Buddha's compassion again saved her. And similarly, the story of Kisa Gotami also really important, very, very important psychological case again. Kisa Gotami had only one child, and I'm not really sure if this is the same Kisa Gotami who said like Nibbutanuna Samata, where having seen the Buddha, whosoever like the husband, the wife of this or the parents of this person were already very peaceful. I'm not sure if that is the same Kisa Gotami. Kisa also means like lean or thin. And so she had a son, and her poverty, maybe she was living in a probably poor house, and the son, little baby, was sick, and he was so sick, and she did not have enough money to take care of him, and the baby died due to something. And then somehow her attachment was so strong, she did not want to believe that her son was dead. Everyone around said, "Your son is dead," and she did not want to believe it. She was so possessed with this, like, my son is only sick and not dead. I don't care the other people, whatever they say. And she took the baby, and she was asking for help and from people. And whenever she asked the other people, they said, "Oh, your son is dead. You are crazy." Like they were like mocking at her. And into this, somehow somebody said, "There is one doctor, if you want to go check, and that will be the Buddha. He will probably help you." And so out of desperation, she came to the Buddha, and she said, Buddha, can you help me? My son is sick. I need some medicine. The Buddha said, okay. He did not say no. He said, okay. And that was the first word that she heard someone with a positive response. And then the Buddha said, you go and take a bunch of mustard seed, and I could cure the baby. And then she was super happy. When she was about to leave, the Buddha said, make sure the bunch of mustard seed, should be from a house where no one has passed away in their family. Okay, I will go take some. And she was so happy. She went to a house, knocked at the door, asked for a bunch of mustard seed, and the kind lady over there gave her a bunch of mustard seed. And she asked then, um, did someone pass away in this house? And then she said, the householder said, yes, my grandmother passed away a few months ago. Oh, then sorry, I can't take this. I need some mustard seed to heal my son who is sick. And then she went to another house, knocked at the door. Same story. Somebody passed away. She went to another house. Another someone passed away in that house. She went from one house to another, knocking at the doors and asking for mustard seeds, and they were all happy to help her. And finally, she found, and there is no house in the entire local, um, locality where nobody has passed away. Now she slowly opened up. She even was so stagnant before, and her senses were also like not working, and she did not feel the smell of the dead body. And now she started to open up, and she started to realize not only my son, but every family has lost someone or the other. So now she started to realize, wow, the Buddha was teaching me a lesson in such a profound way, very wise, smart way. And right now I recognize my son also is dead. So everyone, whatever the other people said was true. So she recognized it, she realized it, she dumped the body and then came back to the Buddha, and she bowed to the Buddha and asked him to ordain her. She became a bhikkhuni. It is said the Kisa Gotami became again the foremost bhikkhuni among the what do you call, the rugged clothes. She was wearing very coarse robes, not really very fine clothes. She was living a very simple life, but she also was a very powerful, enlightened bhikkhuni. So this is the story of um, Kisa Gotami. All right, so I think it is time for us to take a break. And let me, so somebody was leaving, right? Okay, wow, there are so many things in the chat. Okay, all right, so let's take a break and come back. Afterwards, um, we will continue. Thank you, everyone. See you in 15 minutes. Okay. So today we were discussing about the Buddhism and human rights. And then I have also prepared some articles for you to read. And I know like we have only just a little time to discuss about this, but shall we give you an opportunity to ask or say something, or if you have any question to ask before we move to the article section? Do you have anything to say about whatever we have learned so far? Okay.
Yo quisiera, I would like to say something. To the stories that you were sharing with us, and that it's still the gender non-equality is present in many ways. Well, probably in all times. And the power between woman and man still is present. So it's a continuous, commitment as a woman that I have to be conscious and aware of these differences, and to promote, not just with my example, in my family, with my clients, and in every setting, to continue to promote this equality and opportunities for everyone. Just that.
What do you think? What about the other people? You live in a new millennia. What do you think? What do you want to say in response to that?
I think, yeah, I think the gender inequality is like it's not beneficial for both gender and like for everybody too. So it's true that like, yeah, when a woman is being oppressed, and it's like it has long historical context, and we are, as a society now, it's a good sign that we are moving forward, the better, more equal, more equality. But I do want to share that like from the other side, like let's talk about, it's like, yeah, it's like, talk is something called toxic masculinity. So like the men who see themselves as like as being better, that's not healthy for them either, right? It's like they, like, like men, stereotypical men would be seen like, like not being able to express their emotions, and have to be showing as being strong, as the bread maker of the family, stuff like that. So it's there's like social pressure on them. So if they don't get out of the perceived notions of men have to be better, men have to perform better, then it's stressful for them as well. So in this story, it's like it's not beneficial for anybody, right? So it's, yeah, it's and sometimes the only way to combat it, I think it's can only be compassion, to anyone, and just to understand the differences, but also, like the social context around it. And at the end, is just love and compassion is the kind of the only way to get through this inequality.
Yes. So
Okay, I can speak about this. As you're aware, maybe not everyone in the class, I did lose my son. 4 years ago. So August is a very hard month for me. He was 20. Being that I work EMS, that's what I retired out of, because I'm sure you can understand doing my job after losing my son is very personal, and you're on a different side of things, right? And so after I went back to work, I had to go back to work, unfortunately, a month after my son died. So I really didn't have much time. And I told my boss I would try to go back PRN, which means as needed in our field. And I was supposed to have done 12 hours, but that turned into 60. I'm sure you can imagine. So moving on 4 years later and going through all the different aspects on trying to cope and have a better understanding, I can really relate to the Kisa, because on many levels you just don't believe it. You're still waiting, for them to arrive through that door. You're still waiting for that text, that phone call. We were extremely close, and so it is very personal, and you really can't talk to anybody because nobody can really relate to you. They don't have that understanding. Empathy can only go so far, right? But now you're in this group or culture, if you will, that is completely, away from everybody else, you know? And so on many levels, you do feel alone. And for me, a big aspect ongoing, to Buddhism also is in light of that. So where these mothers are going to Buddha, essentially I am too, if you will, in that aspect, for peace and a better understanding and more mindfulness on just myself and to help really get through this, because even 4 years later I'm better than where I was, but I'm a far cry as far as I'm concerned where I should be. So I can completely relate to these other mothers losing their children. And that's all I have to say about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for opening up. I think this whole group is ready to listen to, also with compassion and kindfulness, So, yeah, we have to actually extend a helping hand to those people, at least, lend me your ears. It's something that everyone, people are so busy today and they don't have ears to listen to others. And everyone has so many issues. And we somehow, in our own ways, we need to really, really help each other with whatever way we can, I think this Maba community, the course that we are working with, the teachers and the students, this is a beautiful group, and I would like to actually invite everyone, speak about your capacity, your skill, your professionalism, how you can help other people. I think that way mm, we could do something better in the class as well. Yeah, remember we all are from different countries, different cultures. Still the problems are more or less the same, right? The suffering is more or less the same. It looks like we are different, but we are not. So, so I think together we need to understand that, and the life is always like that. Life is always like that. Ups and downs will be a part of our journey, and the dharma is there to test our capacity. We need to really test ourselves when we are cornered. How do we really face that? Okay, so I think it is time for us to maybe do some activity. Let's ask Mark to guide us, lead us today for some moment.
Yes, thank you, Bante, for this opportunity. And yeah, I'm honored to show you guys some kind of movement relating to head, neck, and shoulder. So, as modern society now, we are sitting a lot, and with computer, and maybe if you're a student, you're studying, and we tend to uh, like bend down the neck, right? So there's a lot of problem with the neck muscle, and there's a research. So right now I'm in medical school, and it's an osteopathic medical school, which it's a old uh it's like a DO school. So we have something called osteopathic manipulative treatment to, it's basically, like just learning about the muscle groups and palpate and really help this muscle to relax, and even the fascia and stuff like that. So yeah, I just want to share some quick statistic is that for headache, right? If we think about headache, is a very common acute problems in even in the older we get, the more we have. But that's about 60 to 70% of headache. It was resulted of the tenseness, of the stiffness of the muscle right in the back of our neck. So here, if you can see my head, so it's right here, right around this part, there's a group of muscles. The medical name for it is suboccipital muscles. But yeah, it's like if you touch your head at the end, at the furthest point to the back, right? That's just cool. That's a school, the furthest point. And then if you go a little bit lower than that, right, you start to feel the soften. So that is your muscle. This is very, very small muscles. And most of us don't really, like most of the time we don't really acknowledge it. But these muscles are the reasons for about 70% of the headache. And it is because maybe we sit and stand a lot, they have to uh, be tense or like be flexed, right? So typically for skeletal muscles, we only have two states, whether it's extended or flexed, or in easier term, it's lengthened or shortened, right? So most of the time, if we stand and we sit a lot, this muscle is shortened. So when it's shortened for a long period of time, this is when it constricted and shortened, and it mess up with your nerve and your artery. So in this area, there's nerve. So that's why when it constricted to your nerve, that's why you have the headache. Okay. So what I'm showing you today is hopefully to some very, very easy exercise to kind of lengthen this muscle out, right? And that would help with the nerves. Okay, so yeah, I think we have two parts. The first part you could do by standing or sitting, but when you sit, make sure your feet touching the ground, or just be stable. And this exercise is very easy. It's just going in four direction like this, and you would be like breathing in about 3 cycles. So you breathe in, out. It's natural breathing. You don't have to do much, but be aware of your breath in that position. However, because all of us are different. For medical purpose, I would recommend every time you go in one direction, you have to go back to neutral, and then you go to other direction. Okay, we should not go like, say, if we are going this, you should not go from this bending straight to bending to right. We shouldn't do that. We should go back to neutral and then go to other plane of motion. Because if like one very uh, very like just acute symptoms you might experience if you go back like this, and you go back and go straight to the side, these are here, right here, there's an arteries and they might get impingement, and that you might not feel too well with that. Okay, so a very important note is you try to, when you do one motion, and then you go back to neutral, and then we go to the next motion. Is that clear? Awesome, thank you. Okay, so let's do this together. So first, yeah, just make sure your back is straight, right? Preferably should not lean to anything. But if you have to, that's okay. If you have back pain, you can lean to your chair, that's okay. But yeah, preferably your back straight, sit on a chair on the ground, that's okay. And let's take one deep breath in and out. And now we're gonna go slowly bend forward all the way down. And stay there. And just observe your breath. And observe the lengthening of your back muscle in the back of your neck. And the shortening of your muscle in the front of your neck. You feel the tension release, or even the tension build up. And then we go back to neutral. All right. And now we're gonna go in the opposite direction, all the way to the back. And then observe your breath. Observe the lengthening of your front neck muscle and the shortening of your back neck muscles. And then we go back to neutral. You just observe these two group of muscles right now. How you feel, how it was relaxed, how it was lengthened and shortened. And now we can go to the right side. So try to get your right ear as close to the shoulder as possible. And then we observe the lengthening of the left neck muscle and the shorten of the right neck muscle. If you feel the tension, you can imagine your breath going into those muscles. All right, we're going back to neutral. And then we're going on the opposite direction. Bend all the way to the left. And you feel the lengthening of your right side neck muscle and the shortening of the left side back muscle. And now we can go back to neutral. And then sit here for a bit to observe our neck, all the muscles aroused. And feel the strength of this muscle as it working all day long to help stabilizing our head. Maybe express your gratitude to these muscles. All right. That is the first part of what I want to show you. So those are a very simple exercise that you could help to extend. Yeah, the whole point is most likely to extend or lengthen this muscle group, all right? Because most of the time it will shorten. And the second part, this is trickier. The second part is about this suboccipital muscle. So it's this very small muscle at the back. So usually, preferably, this is the best one you could do it to other people, because this really, it helps amazingly, especially with headache, as I shared earlier. So what you do is, if you have, if you can help your the partner or somebody like that, it's very easy. You just, your hand would be like just this, and you would go under the neck, and you feel this part, right? You feel this bones, and you go down a little bit on their neck, and you just, your hand is usually like this, and you just push it, push your fingers up, and you stay there, and you can feel those muscles will be released after a while, and it will fall down, right? So usually this is preferably done when we are laying down, right? Because when we lay down, this the head, the neck could be relaxed. So yeah, if you want to, you can find a place to lay down. I can show you how to do it on yourself, but yeah, this is the best when you do to others or other do to you, okay? But you can definitely do it on yourself. So if usually the best is to do laying down, or if you can just, now you can lay on the chair. Yeah, if you sit on the chair, you can lay on the chair to maybe relax your back, your neck a little bit. And so yeah, basically the same idea is would be your two hands feeling this muscle right under the most, the most back skull bone, right? So right below that bone, we feel this very soft muscle and ligament kind of. But yeah, if you're gonna just push to it, really use a force to push to it. And feel the muscle. Feels all of the layers. We have the skin, and then under the skin, using the fascia, connective tissues, and then under that would be the muscle, and then under the muscle is a bone, right? So you can try to push as hard as to touching the bone, but usually we kind of just feel the muscle. So if you are like relatively healthy, you wouldn't feel much of the difference. But if you feel the tense, the constricted, the shortening of the muscle, then after a while, you can start to see how it slowly relaxed, how it slowly lengthened. And just after about 20-30 seconds, you can start to see difference, right? And and that's it. That's it. You can, you could either push it, keep for 10 seconds, or you could do intermittent. So, push 5 seconds, release a little bit so that your finger muscle can relax, right? Because if we keep it too long, then now our hand, our fingers will be shortened. We have a different problem. But yeah, you could do like 5 seconds, relax, and push it for another 5 seconds, stuff like that. Yeah, so those two are the one I want
Thank
to show you
you.
today. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Wonderful. And really appreciate Mark. Please give him a big hand of applause. As a medical student, I think he has already very fresh experience Yeah, these are like lingering issues many of us have. So I think this is a really good one. Thank you, Mark. And so we learned from Gabriela, we learned from Kyra, and we learned from Mark different techniques. Hopefully, they will also be very helpful. Who is going to do something tomorrow? You don't have to be like completely new. You can even do the same thing. That's fine, you know. But it's good if someone wants to do something. I guess it should be like try to make it like shorter so that we can make it more useful from our time. Okay. If somebody is happy to help tomorrow, please let me know now.
I can volunteer for tomorrow.
Wonderful. Okay. Here we go. So now I am sharing with you some articles. Can you see the title and the article? There are like 8 articles, in fact, all related to human rights and Buddhism. This time I'm not going to group. I will also not assigning you any particular topic. You select whatever topic that you prefer and then read it for 15 minutes. Okay? So everyone can read whatever interesting topic that you find and then come back. We will discuss about them. You can say something about that maybe in a couple of minutes or 2-3 minutes, less than 5 minutes hopefully, so that everyone can have an opportunity to say something. Okay, your time starts right now. 15 minutes. We have 4 minutes. Okay, thank you very much. Everyone, I hope today you had a lot of time, really. No discussion. Hopefully you had more time to focus. Well, anyone who read the first article? Um, okay, that's actually, that doesn't really matter.
But I did, but my reaction is not reacting. I'm having a little technical difficulties, but that's the intersection of Buddhist teachings. I read that.
Okay,
So
all right.
I can discuss it a little bit,
Yes, please.
very briefly. The intersection of Buddhist teachings and modern human rights from Uttar Kumar's Badges Scholarship from the Journal of law and conflict resolution basically was stating that, in my own words, truth is truth, and it doesn't matter how old it is, it's going to stand the test of time. So he was saying that even though the old Buddhist teachings and Buddha didn't specifically refer to ethics, they held the same values of compassion, equality, and dignity. And it's applicable to today's human rights under the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, such as liberty, security, and equality, and making it rights without reservation for everyone.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. And yeah, so we'll ask other people also to, give a feedback or summary or reflection. And also I would like to commonly ask everyone, if you like these articles or if they have been helpful, you can also write a comment there. That will also maybe further improvement, whatever you feel. So please feel free to send a feedback there as well. Okay, please give Jojo a good hand of applause. And who's next?
I read the second article, so I can go next.
Okay.
So this one is called Exploring the Universal and Inherent Rights of Humanity, a critical review of global human rights principles and enforcements. So it went over some documents and things that have been done by groups like the United Nations to try to say that there are human rights common to everyone, and all governments need to uphold these. So one is the UDHR, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. However, there are some issues in enforcing these because there will be a lot of different political situations. You can't really force any government to uphold some of these things. And then there can just be more complicated political situations or economic situations for why these might not actually be put into practice. And so then it made me think, comparing it to Buddhism. Buddhism is kind of an opposite approach because it's starting with the individual, and asking the individual to purify the things like greed and ill will, rather than having an external force saying you have to do this, you have to treat people a certain way. So it's kind of interesting because the two are different, I guess, ways for a similar goal. And so then I hope that the two could work in tandem.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. So again, please give her a big hand of applause for summarizing and also giving a feedback on the article. Let's go to the next volunteer.
Okay, I volunteer. I read the article number 6, Buddhism and Human Rights, Insights from Buddhist Sutras and Historical Practices. So basically this article is like a summary of the teacher's teaching, but I find a very important point you mentioned that, but I interested specifically is about the sutra Kalama. It mentioned that we have the rights to independently thinking about the Buddha, don't believe on anything. So that's in the sutta means the attitude was Buddha who encouraged us to do it. And then I read the original sutta, Kalama Sutta, and find the paragraph that I like the most. Calm kalamas do not go upon what has been acquired by repeated hearing, now upon tradition, now upon rumor, and so on, and not upon another one seeming ability, not upon the consideration. The monk is our teacher. Kalamas, when you yourself know these things are good, these things are not blamable, these things are praised by the wise, undertaken and observed. These things lead to benefit and happiness, enter to and abide in them. I think this is very important for me because I was stuck by very confusing. I maybe have a wish to follow the teacher's instructions, follow my monk teacher's instruction, but I always confuse what his instruction is, what like not about how to practice the meditation, but in daily life, what should I do? I don't think I can get an A or B answer. So I confused for like 2 years. So, and this it really helped me that, yeah, me and other people, we are adults. We are like a human being, educated person. So we can determine things by our own knowledge. And yeah, I to consider now. I kept on thinking, what's the meaning of my teacher? What he planned? What's his plan? What he want me to do? So I think that's a wrong direction. So now I understand that I can rely on myself as well, not only on anyone else. I still need to listen, need to follow the teacher, need to take the class, but I can make the judgment. I think this really helped me. That's the Buddha's attitude to check,
Yeah.
evaluate the thing if I
Thank you.
confused. Thank you.
Thank you, Xiao. Please give her a big hand of applause. Yes. You can listen to any Dhamma talk by any teacher. That's okay. Then again, you are the one to decide whether to listen to it or to follow it or not. I think that's really good. Even by attending this class, we don't want to bombard you. We don't want to force you. Okay, you have to listen to me. We don't want to say that. You can go your own path, but by learning or working together, you can gradually evolve. That is the idea. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next one.
Okay, I'll go.
Okay.
I read number 4, which is
Okay.
the Buddhist principles and human rights, embracing equality, dignity, and freedom from suffering. And
Yeah.
explain in this article the doctrines of the Four Noble Truths, like the guidance, and to promote culture of respect, equality, and mental resilience. And I really like this. We were discussing during this class human dignity and equality and freedom over suffering. But what makes me in this article says the right to be free from suffering, and that was very interesting concept because same as a therapist, when clients come, whatever situation they have, and they are suffering, and also the purpose is to teach them how to live free from suffering in a way which is very accurate of the four noble truths and understand that. So this article reinforced for me what we've been talking here about how Buddhism and the way we live in this contemporary world, it can fit perfect if we have these discussions and promote, let's say, solution in our communities, in our workplaces. Not exactly talking about Buddhism, but yes, in a way, referring as well about the ethical in the way that we can live with dignity, equality, and freedom. So that's my comment.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, the others also feel free to open that article when somebody reads it. All right. So, okay. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Gabriela. We will move on with another volunteer. You can even ask some questions if you have. Maybe we will ask the class, or you can ask myself, or you can just give a summary, or you can also critically analyze it, whatever.
Yeah, I can go next.
Okay.
I was reading the number 8, the article named From Kuraya to Human Dignity, Buddhism and the Foundations of Human Rights.
Karuna.
Karuna. Karuna, which means compassion. So two things most stand out for me from this article is that the concept of engaged Buddhism, it actually was just coined and kind of become more popular under the colonial period, and especially like post-colonial period, when engaged Buddhism is being more studied, more talked about in the West. And I love to read about part of some critics and challenges. So some critic would argue that Buddhism focus on self-liberation, risks the neglecting collective welfare. So yeah, that's like like as Buddhism would try to seek personal individual liberalism. So how would that help with collective society? So that's kind of the critics. Other critics is that in Western Buddhist communities, it's not very inclusive, and like when maybe the culture, the Buddhist culture of being silent would not be helpful in, like, if there's incident happen in these communities, being silent that does not help. And how would you combat that? So that's kind of the two critics people may have. And in this article, there's also like kind of talking about how, like, besides the seek for personal liberation, the concept of compassion and ahimsa is still there in Buddhism. And like it's not two different things, it's the same. And whether it's not about me individualism versus the collectivism, but in a way, when we the more we practice, the better we be at both. So yeah, I love that response to the critics.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mark. All right. So please give him a big hand of applause too. You can also, yes, read while he's reflecting on it. And we can go on with the other people.
Yeah, so I also read Article 8, and I'll kind of go off of what Mark said there. It talks a little bit about notable figures in engaged Buddhism like Thich Nhat Hanh. From kind of an offshoot perspective of that, if you have the time, if anyone has the time, I highly recommend looking into a podcast that Plum Village does. It's called The Way Out is In. And they talk about a variety of different Buddhist practices. They go over a lot of engaged Buddhism. One of the things that they recently mentioned was as far as environmentalism goes, they're holding a lot of environmental retreats for individuals in the field who are feeling exceedingly burnt out, emotionally, physically, and otherwise, which is one of the ways that we see engaged Buddhism in the modern world, in a very positive means, in order to help individuals who are dealing with some additional stressors in their fields. And building off of what Mark said as well, we do see a lot of criticism in the Buddhist community as far as the misinterpretation in a way of the focus of Buddhism, because a lot of individuals from the outside will view it as almost self-centered in a way, where they're looking at it and they're saying, well, your goal is to reach enlightenment, so how can you take that and actually engage with the community beyond just the Buddhist community in a way that promotes interconnection of rights and responsibilities and human rights? And I think this article does a really, really good job of showing that karuna, which is compassion, and hisma, nonviolence, can be utilized in ethically responsible and very positive ways across societies and across cultures. So I highly recommend reading it. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kaira. You can also share that link if you can here so everyone can take a look. UC has a question.
Sorry. I meant to get applause, but I think
Okay.
I pressed the
Okay.
wrong button. But yeah,
Okay.
anyway, I read the same article, the number 8, about Karuna and then the modern day, especially how it's related to social justices. I think, yeah, as Mark and Kara already shared for that article. So yeah, I think in a way, especially as in the modern society, we Buddhists, like sometimes we are criticized of our non-activity, or we are not doing anything, right? Like even if we practice Mahayana, still comparing with like some Christian communities, how they relate, and then they go out, they even go to like other countries, right? Their missionary activities, and then they do a lot of things. They set up like nursing homes, and they help with the education, they help with the people, all sorts of people like in hunger. There are all sorts of things. And then the modern world, we have so many like charity groups, also like organizations. But then sometimes if we look at our like modern like Buddhists and then some Buddhism temples, we do things, but then in a way, I think sometimes, yeah, we may pay a lot of attention in our own liberation, even for Mahayana Buddhists, because in a way, we always think, oh, okay, like we have to liberate ourselves, right? Otherwise, then like sometimes I tell myself, like if I cannot even liberate myself, and if I still have so much trouble and suffering, and then I don't have much wisdom, how can I share? How can I help others? So I do study and I practice hard. But then in the other way, if you look at even Buddha himself, like even at that time, even if we practice like a Theravada, we still need to practice like the four immemorials, the Brahmavihara, and then the compassion. The compassion, the nonviolence are the like the fundamental things that Buddha taught us. And then even Buddha himself, right, at that time, even though he's like wandering around, but then still he helped he himself helped like preventing several wars, I think, during that time. Like at least 3 times, I think he talked to the different groups and then basically prevented the wars. So I mean, like if we have any capacity or anything, we should go ahead and then go out and then try to help others. Meanwhile, we also need to practice as a Buddhist, and then this is all because of the fundamental principle is karuna, it's compassion and non-violence. So I think, yeah, we need to do better. Definitely.
Yeah. Thank you, Yushi. And yeah, Shishi. Please give her a big hand of applause too. Yushi, and we will continue. We do have around 6 minutes. So we could probably give probably two people a chance to talk.
I can go next, Bante.
Okay.
I did the number 6. That was dignity within the suttas. And all the suttas have the background to your your ethics. So it's interesting to see within the article where the last 2,500 years within the Buddhism, that the Buddhist 2,500 years ago has we have all these suttas, right? And it's based on the premise of all your main ethics and moral fortitude, your basic life principles, dignity, freedoms. And whether you're looking at the Sala, where it's X-naying the case system, and then you have the Kalama, which is showing your freedom of your belief and expression. Then you have your ethical conducts, to rid of, whether it's personal or societal, for your ethics there. And then the Kuddhanta, that is doing the governance through sacrifice. And I mean, we don't really need, sacrifice of anything as far as I'm concerned. But then you look into the modern times, and still 2,500 years later, look how far we really haven't come. There's still inequality. There's still, sacrificial crap going on, essentially, and you're looking at, some progress, but I think we could be better on a whole, and, whether it's cultural or religious or gender specific, when Buddha could recognize that many centuries ago, why can we not do that now? I find it disgusting that we really are still dealing with all these aspects and issues. Where's the love and just straight humanity for people? Yeah, I mean, it doesn't take much to help the man next to you, whether you know him or not. And it's sad that even with my children being in their 20s and 30, I have grandkids that, guaranteed this is still going to be problematic, even through their generations. Well, when is it going to ever stop? I don't think it's going to. We're still going to continuously keep fighting just for basic, humanistic life principles. So that's what I got out of number 6.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Really appreciate Tara. Please give her a big hand of applause too. And we can give one more chance to another person to really briefly say something about your article. You have maybe a couple of minutes at the most.
I can share one.
Okay.
I also chose the same topic which Ayla says. Ayla shared her thoughts. The United Nations and Human Rights, a summary of global human rights framework and initiative. This article says the human rights are the basic freedom that every person deserves. Things like the right to live, right to life, freedom, education, and also protection from torture or discrimination. These rights belongs to all of us, no matter our race, religion, gender, and also our background. The United Nations has done a lot of protect these rights. In 1948, United Nations created the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. That was the first document that set out the rights of all people. Since that, it has inspired many countries to include values in their laws and constitutions. And also, United Nations works through the Human Rights Council, which reviews how countries treat their people and encourage them to improve. And also it looks political rights like freedom of speech and as well as social and economic rights like fair work condition and access to education. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Wonderful. And please give him, Bante Vijita, also a big hand of applause. All right. So I think it was a new experiment, and I think it was also really nice. You had your own freedom. Again, we talk about freedom. So you had the freedom to, you know, read whatever you like, and then you have the freedom to explain or criticize, analyze. So these are the discussions we had today. Then just again reminder of the final recap in 2020 September 22, and today is the last day for the assignment too also. And yeah, these are the references of the class today. And with that, we would like to conclude today's session. Okay, so stuck.
Bonte, is there any idea when the papers may be graded, the first assignment and second assignment?
First assignment I will grade as soon as possible. Second assignment maybe we'll try to do it before the finals, the recap. Okay. Yeah, I'll try my best. Okay, thank you. Okay, so as we come to the end of today's discussion on Buddhism and human rights, let us pause for a brief moment of reflection. Please take 3 calm breaths and reflect on this question. What is one quality I can carry forward from today's class into my daily life? Now, please type your one word into the Zoom chat, and we will conclude it with that. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today with our class, and really appreciate your active participation, and looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow at the same time. Until then, take some good rest, and may you all be well, happy, healthy. Okay.
Thank
So,
you, Bhante. You're a wonderful teacher.
thank you.
Thank you, Bante.
Thank you.
Bante, good night.
Good night.